Welcome to our deep dive into the fascinating world of forensic psychology. This field sits at the intersection of psychology and the law, playing a crucial role in the justice system. Forensic psychologists use their expertise to help courts, law enforcement, and correctional facilities understand the mental states and behaviors of individuals involved in legal cases. In this video, we'll explore the diverse roles and responsibilities these professionals take on, from assessments to expert testimony. Let's begin by understanding what makes forensic psychology unique and why it's so vital in today's society. Forensic psychologists are trained professionals who apply psychological principles within legal contexts. Their main role is to bridge the gap between psychology and the law, offering insights that can influence legal decisions. Whether working with victims, offenders, or legal professionals, their expertise is essential for fair and informed outcomes. They often collaborate with lawyers, judges, and law enforcement to provide a psychological perspective on cases. This unique position requires a deep understanding of both human behavior and legal processes, making their contributions invaluable in the justice system. One of the primary responsibilities of forensic psychologists is assessing an individual's competency to stand trial. This involves evaluating whether a defendant understands the charges against them and can participate in their own defense. The psychologist conducts interviews, reviews records, and may administer psychological tests. Their findings help the court determine if the individual is fit for trial, or if treatment is needed before proceedings can continue. This assessment is crucial for ensuring that legal processes are fair and just for all parties involved. Forensic psychologists are often called upon to evaluate criminal responsibility, also known as sanity evaluations. Their task is to determine whether a defendant was legally sane at the time of the offense. This involves a thorough review of the individual's mental state, history, and behavior leading up to the incident. The psychologist's expert opinion can influence whether the defendant is held fully responsible for their actions or if mental illness played a significant role. These evaluations are critical in cases where mental health is a central issue. Another key responsibility is conducting risk assessments. Forensic psychologists evaluate the likelihood that an individual may pose a danger to themselves or others. This can include assessing the risk of reoffending or predicting violent behavior. These assessments are used to inform decisions about bail, sentencing, parole, and treatment plans. By providing evidence-based evaluations, forensic psychologists help protect public safety while also considering the rights and needs of the individual. Forensic psychologists frequently serve as expert witnesses in court. They present their findings and professional opinions to judges and juries, helping to clarify complex psychological issues. Their testimony can cover topics such as mental illness, competency, risk, and the effects of trauma. Being an expert witness requires clear communication skills and the ability to explain psychological concepts in a way that is understandable to non-experts. Their input can be pivotal in shaping the outcome of a case. Family law cases, forensic psychologists may be asked to conduct child custody evaluations. Their role is to assess the best interests of the child by evaluating the family dynamics, parenting abilities, and the child's needs. They interview parents, children, and sometimes other family members and may observe interactions. Their recommendations help courts make informed decisions about custody arrangements that prioritize the child's well-being and safety. Forensic psychologists also work with victims and witnesses, evaluating their mental state and ability to provide reliable testimony. They assess the impact of trauma, stress, or mental health issues on memory and perception. Their evaluations can help determine whether a witness is competent to testify or if a victim needs additional support. By understanding the psychological effects of crime, forensic psychologists ensure that the voices of victims and witnesses are heard and respected in the legal process. Forensic psychologists often consult with law enforcement agencies, providing insights into criminal behavior and investigative strategies. They may assist in developing offender profiles, advising on interrogation techniques, or helping officers cope with job-related stress. Their expertise enhances the effectiveness of investigations and supports the mental health of law enforcement personnel. This collaborative relationship is essential for solving cases and maintaining a healthy work environment for officers. Within correctional facilities, forensic psychologists provide treatment and rehabilitation services to inmates. They assess mental health needs, develop treatment plans, and offer therapy for issues such as substance abuse, anger management, and trauma. Their goal is to reduce recidivism and support inmates in making positive changes. By addressing psychological needs, they contribute to safer and more effective correctional environment. Unique responsibility of forensic psychologists is detecting malingering, or the intentional faking of mental illness for personal gain. They use specialized interviews and psychological tests to distinguish genuine symptoms from fabricated ones. Accurate detection of malingering is vital for ensuring that legal decisions are based on truthful information and that resources are allocated appropriately. Forensic psychologists sometimes assist attorneys during jury selection. They analyze potential jurors' backgrounds, attitudes, and biases to help select an impartial jury. Their psychological insights can identify individuals who may be more or less receptive to certain arguments or evidence. This role helps ensure that trials are fair and that verdicts are based on evidence rather than prejudice. Many forensic psychologists engage in research to advance the field and inform public policy. They study topics such as criminal behavior, rehabilitation methods, and the effectiveness of legal interventions. Their findings can shape laws, correctional practices, and mental health services. By contributing to evidence-based policy, forensic psychologists help create a more just and effective legal system. Forensic psychologists play a key role in training and educating others. They teach students, legal professionals, and law enforcement about psychological principles relevant to the legal system. Through workshops, lectures, and seminars, they share their expertise and promote best practices. This educational role helps ensure that everyone involved in the justice system understands the importance of mental health and psychological assessment. Ethics are at the heart of forensic psychology. Practitioners must balance their duty to the court with their responsibility to clients. They adhere to strict ethical guidelines regarding confidentiality, informed consent, and impartiality. Navigating these ethical dilemmas requires careful judgment and a commitment to professional integrity. Upholding ethical standards ensures that forensic psychologists maintain the trust of the legal system and the public. Significant part of a forensic psychologist's job is writing detailed reports for courts and legal professionals. These reports summarize assessments, findings, and recommendations in clear, objective language. Well-written reports are essential for communicating complex psychological information and supporting legal decision-making. Precision and clarity in report writing help ensure that the psychologist's insights are understood and valued by the court. Forensic psychologists often consult on complex cases, offering their expertise to attorneys, judges, and other professionals. They review evidence, provide second opinions, and help clarify psychological issues that may affect the outcome of a case. Their input can be especially valuable in cases involving mental health, trauma, or unusual behavior. By serving as consultants, they help ensure that all relevant psychological factors are considered in legal proceedings. When a defendant is found incompetent to stand trial, forensic psychologists may be involved in competency restoration. This process includes providing education, therapy, and support to help the individual regain the ability to participate in legal proceedings. The psychologist monitors progress and reports to the court when competency is restored. This role is vital for upholding the rights of defendants and ensuring fair trial. Forensic psychologists are not limited to criminal cases. They also evaluate civil matters such as personal injury, disability claims, and workplace disputes. They assess psychological harm, determine the impact of trauma, and provide expert opinions on mental health issues. Their evaluations can influence compensation, accommodations, and legal outcomes in civil litigation. Forensic psychologists often work with juvenile offenders, assessing their mental health, risk factors, and rehabilitation needs. They develop treatment plans tailored to young people and may provide therapy or support services. Their goal is to address underlying issues and promote positive development, reducing the likelihood of future offenses. This work is crucial for supporting at-risk youth and fostering safer communities. In some cases, forensic psychologists assess whether individuals are fit for specific duties, such as law enforcement officers or military personnel. They evaluate mental health, stress tolerance, and decision-making abilities. These assessments help ensure that individuals in high-stress roles are capable of performing their duties safely and effectively, protecting both themselves and the public. Forensic psychologists may be called upon to provide crisis intervention in situations such as hostage negotiations, disasters, or traumatic events. They offer psychological support, help manage acute stress, and assist in de-escalating dangerous situations. Their training allows them to respond quickly and effectively, minimizing harm and supporting recovery for those affected. During sentencing, forensic psychologists may evaluate mitigating factors such as mental illness, trauma, or developmental issues. Their assessments can influence the severity of sentences and the types of interventions recommended. By considering these factors, courts can make more individualized and humane decisions that address the root causes of criminal behavior. Forensic psychologists sometimes work with victim advocacy organizations, providing psychological support and expert opinions. They help victims navigate the legal system, cope with trauma, and access necessary resources. Their involvement ensures that victims' rights and needs are recognized and addressed throughout the legal process. Forensic psychologists may be asked to evaluate the likelihood of false confessions. They analyze interrogation methods, the mental state of suspects, and situational pressures that could lead to unreliable statements. Their findings help courts determine the validity of confessions and prevent miscarriages of justice. Forensic psychologists may consult on sentencing decisions, providing insights into the offender's mental health, risk of reoffending, and rehabilitation prospects. Their recommendations can influence whether an individual receives treatment, probation, or incarceration. This role helps ensure that sentences are fair, effective, and tailored to individual needs. Forensic psychologists assess whether individuals understand and can voluntarily waive their legal rights, such as the right to remain silent or to legal counsel. This evaluation ensures that waivers are made knowingly and intelligently, protecting individuals from self-incrimination or unfair treatment. In civil cases, forensic psychologists may evaluate testamentary capacity, determining whether an individual is mentally capable of making a valid will. They assess cognitive functioning, understanding of assets, and freedom from undue influence. Their evaluations help ensure that wills reflect the true intentions of the individual. Forensic psychologists assess parenting capacity in cases involving child protection or custody disputes. They evaluate the parent's ability to meet the child's physical, emotional, and developmental needs. Their findings help courts make decisions that prioritize the child's safety and well-being. Forensic psychologists may be involved in immigration cases, assessing the psychological impact of trauma, persecution, or displacement. Their evaluations can support asylum claims, determine fitness for deportation, or inform decisions about family reunification. Their expertise helps ensure that immigration decisions are informed by a thorough understanding of mental health. In disability cases, forensic psychologists assess the extent of psychological impairment and its impact on daily functioning. They review medical records, conduct interviews, and administer tests to determine eligibility for disability benefits. Their evaluations provide objective evidence to support or refute claims. Forensic psychologists may evaluate claims of harassment or discrimination in the workplace or other settings. They assess the psychological impact of alleged incidents, review evidence, and provide expert opinions. Their findings can influence legal outcomes and support fair treatment for all parties involved. In personal injury cases, forensic psychologists assess the psychological effects of accidents or trauma. They determine the extent of emotional distress, post-traumatic symptoms, and the need for ongoing treatment. Their evaluations help courts and insurance companies make informed decisions about compensation and care. Forensic psychologists may assess an employee's fitness to return to work after illness, injury, or psychological distress. They evaluate readiness, coping skills, and potential accommodations needed. Their input helps employers support employee well-being and maintain a productive workplace. Forensic psychologists may assess whether individuals with mental illness or cognitive impairment can live independently. They evaluate daily functioning, decision-making abilities, and support needs. Their findings inform guardianship decisions and help ensure that individuals receive appropriate care and protection. Forensic psychologists assess whether individuals have the capacity to consent to medical treatment, legal agreements, or participation in research. They evaluate understanding, reasoning, and voluntariness. These assessments protect individuals' rights and ensure that consent is informed and valid. Forensic psychologists assess sexual offenders to determine risk, treatment needs, and likelihood of reoffending. They conduct interviews, review records, and use specialized assessment tools. Their evaluations inform sentencing, treatment planning, and public safety measures. In domestic violence cases, forensic psychologists assess the psychological impact on victims and the risk posed by offenders. They provide recommendations for protection, treatment, and intervention. Their expertise helps courts and agencies respond effectively to domestic violence and support those affected. Forensic psychologists may evaluate stalking cases, assessing the risk posed by the perpetrator and the psychological impact on the victim. Their findings inform protective measures, legal actions, and treatment recommendations. Their involvement helps ensure that both victims and communities are safeguarded. Forensic psychologists assess cases of elder abuse, evaluating the mental and physical health of older adults and the risk of further harm. They provide recommendations for protection, intervention, and support services. Their expertise helps ensure that vulnerable elders receive the care and justice they deserve. In child abuse cases, forensic psychologists assess the impact on the child, the risk of further harm, and the family environment. They provide expert testimony and recommendations for intervention. Their involvement is critical for protecting children and supporting their recovery. Forensic psychologists assess substance abuse issues in both criminal and civil cases. They evaluate the extent of addiction, its impact on behavior, and the need for treatment. Their findings inform legal decisions, treatment planning, and support services for individuals struggling with substance abuse. Forensic psychologists play a vital role in evaluating mental health within legal contexts. They assess diagnoses, treatment needs, and the impact of mental illness on legal responsibility. Their expertise ensures that mental health is properly considered in legal decisions, promoting justice and humane treatment. Forensic psychologists assess psychological damages in cases involving trauma, accidents, or intentional harm. They determine the extent of emotional suffering and its impact on daily life. Their evaluations support claims for compensation and help ensure that victims receive appropriate recognition and support. As we've seen, forensic psychologists take on a wide range of roles and responsibilities, each crucial to the functioning of the legal system. From assessments and expert testimony to research and education, their work ensures that psychological factors are properly considered in legal decisions. By bridging the gap between psychology and the law, forensic psychologists promote justice, protect rights, and support the well-being of individuals and communities. Their expertise continues to shape the future of both psychology and the justice system.